Dear friends, I'm glad to welcome you to our channel. Today we will embark on one of the most fascinating intellectual journeys that modern philosophy and science can offer. We will talk about a hypothesis that both amazes, frightens, and inspires. This is the simulation theory, the idea that our entire reality might be an artificially created system. The thought that the world around us might be an illusion or an artificial structure is not new. Back in ancient times, philosophers questioned how real our perceptions truly were. Plato, in his famous allegory of the cave, described people chained to a wall, able to see only the shadows of objects cast by a flame behind them. For these prisoners, the shadows were the only reality, even though a whole world existed beyond the cave. This ancient image can be seen as one of the first precursors of what we now call the simulation theory. Later, thinkers of the Middle Ages and the Enlightenment also reflected on similar ideas. René Descartes asked, "What if some evil genius implants false perceptions of the world into our minds? If that were true, then we could never be fully sure of the authenticity of our experiences." Such reflections laid the groundwork for future concepts in which reality could be understood as something artificially created. However, the modern version of this idea arose thanks to the development of technology. When humanity saw the first computer programs, three-dimensional models, and virtual worlds, it became clear that reality can be simulated convincingly enough to blur the line between the real and the artificial. In the early 21st century, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed a strict formulation of this hypothesis. He argued that if a civilization reaches a level where it can simulate entire worlds with conscious beings inside them, then it becomes highly probable that we ourselves are already living inside such a model. In his reasoning, Bostrom presented three scenarios. Civilizations never reach the technological level needed to create simulations. They reach it but choose not to use it. They reach it and do use it, creating millions of virtual worlds. If the third scenario is correct, then the chance that our world is the original becomes vanishingly small. This statement provokes heated debates, for it challenges the very notion of reality. What if everything we see, feel, and experience is nothing more than the result of a colossal computational process? Let's look at some of the arguments made by supporters of this hypothesis. First, the astonishing growth of technology. In just a few decades, games and simulations have become so realistic that sometimes it's difficult to tell them apart from photos or films. If progress continues at this pace, then in a few centuries, humanity may be capable of creating worlds indistinguishable from reality. Second, the laws of physics look surprisingly similar to strict mathematical code. The constants of nature, quantum effects, the discreteness of space and time, all of this gives the impression that the universe is structured like a vast program. Some scientists even draw parallels between physics and computer processes. Third, the very possibility of consciousness existing in a digital environment. If the brain is a biological computer, then it should be possible, in principle, to create its digital copy. That means simulated beings could be just as alive and self-aware as we are. Of course, skeptics object. They claim that even if the hypothesis sounds plausible, there is no convincing evidence for it yet. Moreover, the very question of proof might be meaningless. If we really are inside a simulation, then everything we call evidence would also be part of it. Nevertheless, the mere possibility of simulation changes the way we look at the world. If the universe is a program, then where are its limits? Can we go beyond its boundaries? What lies outside? And who might be the creator? Some interpret this idea in religious terms, likening the hypothetical creators of the simulation to gods. Others prefer to see it as the work of an advanced civilization for whom our world is either a scientific experiment or a form of entertainment. Interestingly, the theme of simulation has become very popular in culture. Films like The Matrix gave viewers a vivid picture. A person lives inside an artificial world, unaware of it until one day they discover the truth. These stories resonate with us because they strike at the core, the question of the authenticity of our existence. But simulation theory is not only about philosophy or art, it also has direct implications for science. For example, physicists are searching for signs of the artificiality of the universe. They look for traces of discrete structures in space which might indicate a computational nature of reality. Others analyze the fundamental laws of physics, asking, are they too simplified and symmetrical, as if someone deliberately optimized them? Now let us look at the practical and cultural meaning of this idea. If the hypothesis is true, then we are part of a project whose purpose might remain unknown to us. Perhaps we are subjects in an experiment observed by someone outside. Or maybe our world is just a simulation of entertainment, where our lives are like a movie or a game for its creators. One of the most fascinating questions is, can we detect glitches in the simulation? Just like bugs in computer programs, such errors could reveal its artificial nature. In the history of science, there have been many phenomena that first appeared as anomalies. Could some of them actually be traces of external interference? Some researchers suggest that quantum uncertainty, or the speed of light limit, might act like restrictions of the system, similar to technical constraints in computer games. Even our inability to look beyond the event horizon of a black hole might resemble invisible boundaries of a simulation. On the other hand, if the universe really is a program, then what about our future? Could the simulation be shut down? Could it be restarted? And what would happen to us in such a case? These questions remain unanswered, but they give the hypothesis its dramatic weight. Philosophers also point out that belief in the simulation could influence human behavior. If people come to think of the world as artificially created, life gains a different perspective. We begin to see it as a stage where anything is possible, but where every action might be observed by someone outside. This raises new moral and ethical issues. For instance, if creators are watching us, should we live in a way that earns their respect? At the same time, simulation theory can also be inspiring. If we truly live inside a program, then maybe we can learn to interact with its code. It resembles the idea of lucid dreaming. When a person realizes they are dreaming, they can change what happens. Similarly, recognizing the artificial nature of the universe might open doors to new abilities. Science is still far from any definitive answers, but interest in the topic keeps growing. Experiments in quantum physics, research into the structure of the cosmos, and mathematical models all keep nudging us toward one main question. What kind of world do we actually live in? Can there be a more thrilling challenge for the human mind? Simulation theory unites philosophy, physics, mathematics, and culture. It challenges our understanding of reality itself and forces us to question what we usually take for granted. But above all, this hypothesis sparks imagination. It makes us search for answers to questions that may never be fully resolved, and that is what makes it so valuable. After all, the drive for knowledge and the ability to ask bold questions have always been the engines of human progress. Friends, our journey has come to an end. Simulation theory remains a mystery that fascinates, unsettles, and inspires us. Perhaps one day the truth will be revealed, or perhaps it will remain hidden forever. Either way, it is thanks to such ideas that we keep expanding the horizons of human thought. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this exploration. See you next time.